Well, the government has decided to reopen schools from 1st of July amid COVID-19 pandemic. While schools will welcome class 10 and 12 students, and colleges will welcome the final year students in the first phase, and classes 7, 8, 9 and 11 will resume in the subsequent phases as and when the government announces. Hello and welcome to Generation Me. I'm Tshering Wangchuk. Well, to talk more on the subject, I have with me Education Minister, His Excellency Lyonpo J.B. Rai. Your Excellency, thank you very much for being on the program.
It's my pleasure, sir.
So, Your Excellency, the schools will be reopened from 1st July. As an Education Minister, how comfortable are you?
Thank you so much for calling me here and be part of this much awaited and also exciting program. And then, in fact, I should have asked you this question. In fact, are you excited too, or are you comfortable and excited or not? But then, as far as I'm concerned,
I'll wait for Lyonpo's reply.
I am very, very much comfortable and excited. But then, why? Because, as you know very well, that psychosocial issues is number one that we have to take care of more than education. Psychosocial issues is one thing. The other thing is that education has to take place. Of course, it was taking, but then remaining long because this is a new normal. And also on 5th March, when we had first case of COVID patients here in Bhutan, I think everyone in the country were panicking, a little bit worried. What will happen? On 6th, we try to close down the school, especially for schools in Paro, Punakha, and Thimphu. But then we are also, in fact, thinking that we will open within 14 days. But then after 14 days, when we tested partner of that patient, till 12, 13 days, she was negative. But then on 15th day, finally, when we tested, she turned out to be positive. Then that's why we are not able to really trust. And again, furthermore, what happened was, slowly globally, when the pandemic started picking up and going to the peak, what happened was our Bhutanese who were working abroad, our students studying abroad, they were also panicked because globally, different countries where they were working, they were not feeling comfortable there. So they wanted to come back. And we were worried. And then because of that, we had to bring all our Bhutanese back to the country, and due to which we know that so far whatever COVID cases are there, it's all the imported ones, not the community contacted one. So in other words, because of that fear, what we had to do was we had to close down all the schools and institutions, despite still Bhutan is not in that red zone, still in orange zone, in a WHO standard and protocols. But then still we had to close down for new situations, new emergency, and also for a precautionary mode. But then again, keeping long like this, closing down schools, institutions, long like this, and also after assessing the risk factors all around the country, it's not wise enough to keep so long. So at the same time, class 10 and 12, again, they have to choose the streams at the end of the academic sessions. So for example, 10, now when they're going to 11, now how would you, if you don't assess them or if you don't teach them, prepare them for class 11, then they have to choose either arts, commerce, science, or any other streams. They have to sit for the common exam, so it's very critical. So that's why we propose, in fact, 9, 10, 11, 12, in fact, as in education, because after assessing all those things, looking at other risk factors, we propose, in fact, propose to the NDMA chair that, Major Linjan, that let's start from 9, 10, 11, 12. But then somehow it was the common collective wisdom that let us not start at a time. Though Education Ministry, education prepared for to start the academic sessions as normal as possible from PP to 12, yet it is not wise to just the collective wisdom that not to start, but then just begin with 10 and 12, and then if 10 and 12 students perform well, if they really cooperate well with the protocols, health protocols, and then perform well through their self-leadership, then we will start next phase of opening the door for class 4, 7, 8, 9, and 11. So that's why, of course, considering other factors, we as an educationists, we as an education ministry, We are really excited to accept back our children and also continue the normal interaction between teachers and students. And then, of course, there are a little bit of worry is that our students should not be careless. Of course, our teachers will not do that, but then more so, our Bhutanese people should not be careless. They should be careful. And now, since we are opening the schools, so our people should be more careful. In different sectors like transportation sector, they should be very careful. They should maintain the discipline when the students are coming in their cab or coming in the buses or different transportation. They should also educate them. If they are coming without masks, the driver should educate them. At the same time, all parents should also tell the children about the cleanliness, how to wash their hands, how to put their masks, and how they should not loiter around. Most important thing is loiter around the towns and come to the house. Now they should be directly going, day scholar student, directly going to the school and coming back to the house.
So, Your Excellency, it's going to be same for the day school students, home to school and school to home.
Yes.
So, they will not be, kept in boarding schools.
No, but then that's why the day scholars should be careful. They should not mingle around, go around the towns, and then waste their time. They should follow the protocols. Yes, of course, the boarding ones will be well taken care by the teachers, and definitely there will be a health coordinator there, full-time health coordinator placed there, and then warden, matron, and everybody will be there then. So boarder wouldn't be a problem, but the day scholar should take care of themselves as well as also the parents, and of course in between the community.
And Your Excellency, there are certain protocols like installation of hand washing stations, continuous supply of water, and also maintaining physical distancing in schools. So are all these facilities put in all the schools, especially regarding the hand washing stations and continuous supply of water?
So far, physical infrastructure or arrangement is concerned, we are ready. So in front of us, we have invested almost 75 million Niltram to set up all those facilities right now. I'm not sure in terms of putting the tap, putting the tank, putting all those things, facilities. We have put it there. But then I don't know whether the water will be continuously there or not. But then if some of the places, if you really look at, there is shortage of water. But then we made it very clear to our administrators in the schools as well as in the Dzongkhang that at least in the schools, continuous flow of water should be there. Then also other arrangement like other sanitization equipments as well as medicines and other things have to be there. Without that, yes. Without that, I think definitely we are not going to take the student in the school.
But Your Excellency, in the past we happened to visit certain schools, and some schools there was complete lack of water. Students, they had to carry water from the nearby water sources. So lack of water means lack of hygiene and sanitation. Are you really worried about it? Like you mentioned, there may not be continuous supply of water.
Yes, definitely. The amount of money that we pumped in this time is basically to address those issues. Yes, if you really ask me, will there be 100% water supply in all the schools all the time, 24/7? Again, it may not be, but then there should be alternative. Definitely, this is not the time for exceptions. So definitely, even if there is no water, we have to buy water in the tank, then also put it there till our students are there. Cleanliness and wash program is the ultimate and optimum our priority. So that's why there is no question of whether there is water or not. There will be, there should be, and there has to be all this all the time as long as our children are there in the school.
But have you given any instructions to the Dzongkhang administration regarding for this proper water supply and installation of this hand washing place?
Yes, so far on my table I could see that if I really look at today's report, I would say total schools in 2020 is 609. Piped water, all the schools, and also safe drinking water also, 596 schools. And of course, 13 schools, they are not having filter water. Water filter are not placed there. Filtration machines are not there. This is also work in progress. And hand washing stations, all the schools. Then schools ready with soaps. All the schools are ready. And also all the schools are ready with functional toilets. So readiness to reopen is in all the schools means I assume that these things are taken care. I don't think we have to repeatedly tell what to do or what not to do, but then I think all the school leaders are ready with this one. Okay. And of course, our DOs and also Dr. Jongdal and Dr. Tompen will be fully aware of this, and they will make sure that these things are there. Again, we are sending the notification. There also we will make sure these things, we will mention it, that these things are the basic necessities at this point of time.
So, Lyonpo, class 10 and 12, they will be going to the schools from 1st of July. What about the rest of the students? Classes 7, 8, 9, and 11. Will they continue with the e-learning program until the government decides the next phase?
That's why I said in the beginning, our 10 and 12 students' behavior and their leadership directly depends on, I think their leadership will lead to taking back or reopening schools for 7, 8, 9, and 11. But then, so far we have, as long as school administration is concerned, we are ready. We can take at any point of time. But then, again, we have to wait and see how the public perception will go, how the students will behave, how the teachers and administrators can cope up with the latest changes that's taking place. Anyways, there are two curriculum that we have developed. One is prioritized curriculum, where face-to-face, when a teacher is teaching face-to-face for e-learning, we have developed adapted curriculum. So PP to 9 and 11 will be whether we take back to school or not, they will follow the adapted curriculum where they will be assessed based on the adapted curriculum. So till second phase of opening the class, face-to-face class for 7 to 9 and 11 students, till that time they will be following e-learning only. Okay. So if we open the school for them, yes, they will carry on with the face-to-face teaching learning, but then definitely they will follow the adopted curriculum only. Okay. But then whereas 10 and 12, they have to follow a prioritized curriculum, and they have to, teaching learning should take place face-to-face, and they will be assessed based on that, because prioritized curriculum, nothing but then they have all that current conventional curriculum has been thinned out and made it all the necessary. That is the minimum curriculum that they have to learn. That's what they have summarized and made it, I would say, around 70% of the current curriculum has been placed there. So face-to-face teaching learning will take place, and they have to follow the prioritized curriculum. But then other classes will follow the adapted curriculum, and they will be assessed accordingly.
Well, Your Excellency, will all the schools be able to accommodate all the students and maintain physical distancing if the second phase happens?
If you really look at medical advice or health advice, if you really look at even in the taxi, if all the passengers are putting on the masks, even if driver doesn't put the mask, it's okay. It is also told that taxi can take the full passenger. For example, altogether, if a taxi has a 5 capacity, they can take 5 passengers. In other words, there's no social distancing, in a taxi. So if you have put the marks. Okay. In a similar country, if you go back to the school, if all the students puts the marks and then maintain the marks, I think it's comfortable enough to take back all the students in the school and carry on the normal teaching learning. But then we do not want to take that kind of situation in the schools. That's why we have taken the phase-wise 10 and 12. But then even if you have to take back 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, we will also have a look and discuss further. Though we have the capacity, we have all the WASP program ready, but then we will have a relook once again if still we have time.
So at the moment for class 10 and 12, how many students will be kept in a classroom now?
We are thinking about, as far as possible, we'll keep it as normal as possible if they have the marks. But then, since we'll have a comfortable enough classroom to be segregated, we can segregate. But then the challenge is, if, for example, class 10A, section A, there is a 30 student in the classroom. Now, if we have segregated to 15, there is only one teacher, then there is a challenge. So if only 2 classes, then it's okay. If now further we have to divide into 3 classes, then further there will be a challenge. So what we are saying is, we have left these things to school administration. Maybe sometimes class 10, all the class 10 might be put in one room, like in an auditorium, and also you put a big presentation slide and also good mic, and if our teacher can teach in that big room. So there's a social distancing is there, marks is there, and also the good ambience for teaching learning will take place. In that case, I think that's also okay. But then if there is no such kind of facilities, then school administration must maybe divide and then teach accordingly, maintaining all the social distancing. And of course, it goes without saying that marks has to be there, and maintaining all the WASH programs will be there.
But do you think the parents are willing to send their children to school amid this COVID-19 situation? La?
Yeah, it is a little bit, I think...
Some parents are a bit worried. La.
Yes, I also received a couple of calls. And also, yes, I think at this point of time, it is a new development has happened. And then everybody is a little bit in oxymoronic stage. One way, our children must go somewhere, but then some part of your heart says, oh, even if we don't send, it's okay, These things are already there. But then having said that, what's important is taking calculated risks is very important. Anyways, according to WHO standard, our country doesn't have any community contact. But then still few parents are a little bit skeptical about it. But then that's very important. That's very important. So taking little bit of calculated risks in the sense, number one. Investment. Anyway, risk means investment. If you really look at earlier, those WASH program wasn't there. Earlier, those WASH facilities were there, but then not to that extent. Now we have upgraded that WASH facilities, be it be sanitizing facilities, or be it be purchase of thermometer, be it be sanitizing the students at the gate. All those things wasn't there. Now these things are all put in place, including if most of the WASH, if any of the students are caught the virus, even how to deal, all those things are all trained and kept ready. With that also, if you know it very well, our Honorable Health Minister has clearly said that this pandemic it's bound to happen. At any time it might come. I think it's inevitable. But then we are trying to protect. We are under the leadership of His Majesty. We have so far kept at bay, but we never know what happens. But then again, you know it very well. There is no vaccine developed. Even if vaccine is developed, another 18 months are going to take place to test and come to the market. Now, do we have to keep our children like this for another 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? If this COVID test going down 4, 5 years, 10 years, are you really want to keep back your children in the house and not to send to the school? I don't think so.
Although, Your Excellency, briefly talked about calculated risks, God forbid, what will happen if there is community outbreak? What strategy is the ministry and the government adopting to, ensure the safety of the students?
Thank you so much. I think you know it very well. If at all there is of course, God forbids, it might not happen. But then, if at all happen, so I think you know it very well. Ministry of Health is well prepared on that, how to manage it. Number two, Ministry of Health, Education. We were the first, in fact, ministry who adopted this education emergency. How we should tackle if any of our children are caught by this virus, or what happened in case of lockdown, how we should tackle. This we have already developed. We started developing from 6th of March itself. So in other words, we are ready with, if at all, for example, in place A, the lockdown has happened. For example, day scholar will remain with their parents. There's no question of that. Border will not allow anybody to go out, or will not allow anybody to come in. So in that case, if at all, if something happens in the border also, we have kept a provision for the quarantine. We also trained the health coordinator how to tackle all those situations.
Right, Your Excellency, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you. It is also a privilege. So thank you so much for calling me here. And then before we end our talk, I would like to request one thing to our parents and also the people of Bhutan and also the students that, as I said in the beginning, please do not take this pandemic, do not take it easy. So far, thank God that under the leadership of His Majesty, He has been guiding us. He has been always leading us. He has been always in the forefront and protecting us from this pandemic. But then He also kept on reminded us that we all should be worried. We should be careful on this thing. So far, we haven't had any community contact and we haven't seen any deaths, cold deaths visiting our families. But then if you really look at the case like in other countries, from the family, they have seen many of the dead bodies going out of the families. So if we are careful about all those things and if we worry about that, these things will never come to our country and never happen. So therefore my request to community, request to the people, request to the parents, request to the children is this, that since we are opening up these educational institutions, so let us all be careful, let us take the responsibility and also let us all follow the health protocols and also obey the rules and regulations. By doing that, we'll save our country. This is a time to show our unity. This is a time to show our solidarity. Let us all take seriously this pandemic and let us not trifle it. And with the opening of the schools and institutions, further each and everyone should take extra care and extra careful.
Thank you, Lyonpo. Well, that was the Minister of Education, His Excellency Lyonpo J.B. Rai, and this has been Generation Me. And today we talked about some of the strategies and some of the safety protocols adopted by the ministry and the government to ensure the safety of the students, since schools will be reopened for classes 10 and 12 from 1st of July. This is me, Tshering Wangchuk, signing off for now. Thank you very much for listening.